It's true. Bamboo bedding is dreamy to sleep on. That's why Quince aptly named their Bamboo Dream Quilt Set. Coming in 12 colors, you're absolutely going to love this quilt and 2 shams set. Starting at the softest of pinks and going all the way to a dark navy. It's going to be perfect for anyone's room. Your own, your guest rooms, your kids' rooms, maybe even back to the dorm bedding. Quince has everything you need to elevate your space, from bedding to soft organic towels, airy curtains, and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And of course, as you know, Quince has gorgeous cashmere and other wardrobe essentials. And the best part, Quince's products are half the cost of similar brands. They partner with top artisans and cut out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to us. Thank you, Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so you can feel good about your purchases from Quince. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT.
Slow and steady wins the race. Hi, I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today, we're doing a deep dive into slow decorating. I love this concept. I think we really live our lives this way, and we're not just talking about it, we do this.
Yeah, we talk the talk and walk the walk and all that, but we walk slow. Isn't it nice if someone gives you permission to do something slowly? I'm always running around doing everything really fast, trying to get everything done. But this is something you should take this slow approach to. You might have heard about slow decorating. We have alluded to it, talked about it a little bit, talked around it, referenced it maybe in other episodes over the course of these many years, but we've really never done a deep dive into it and let you know not only what it is, how you can practice it, what the benefits are, but kind of, how we do this in our own homes. So slow decorating is really purposeful and intentional.
Well, I'd like to back up a second.
Sure.
And just say, why are we even using the term slow decorating? And it all goes back to food, really, originally, and the concept of fast food, which has been around for at least 100 years. But the mass consumption of fast food and calling it fast food really was in full force by at least the 70s. It was seen by many, including us, as very unhealthy. And then by the 1980s, there was this backlash against it. So they came up with a food movement called slow food. And then this term slow has moved to other industries. So there's slow fashion, and now there's slow decorating.
Yes. And slow sometimes gets a bad rap as a way of doing things. But in these regards, the slow food movement, the slow decorating, and the slow fashion, it's really a good thing. So you want to embrace this idea.
Yes, I mean, it really is a rejection of instant gratification and quick projects. And these are things that often don't turn out that well because you're in a big rush to do them. And just like fast food isn't that healthy, doing decorating in a way that's super fast often results in some things that aren't really the best for your home.
Yeah, and a rejection of instant gratification feels almost rebellious in our times because we are so used to click, purchase, oh, it's at the front door. We're so used to wanting to get some information and looking and holding this little thing in our hands and getting the information immediately. We're used to lots of things coming at us in a fast and furious fashion. So when you think about slow decorating, slow food, slow fashion, it is almost a rejection and kind of, like I'm saying, a little bit of a rebellious movement. So come with us and be a rebel and see how slow decorating can really improve the environment that you live in and also just improve your your life in a sense, because it removes this arbitrary self-imposed deadline. And we don't mean like you're walking around your house in slow motion, or you just like, oh, I'm going to put this thing on the wall, and it just takes you a really long time. That's not really the whole thing. It can't, it's just not, it's not having the thing and then just not getting it on the wall or putting it in place it quickly. It's more than the speed at which you move.
Well, before we get too far into this, I want to respond to all of the wonderful messages we got and the wonderful reviews we have gotten. You put out a request for our birthday that people let us know. Well, you asked, what do you want to hear about?
People do ask you, what would you like for your birthday? And I knew what we would collectively like. So I am joining you in wanting to highlight this and thank everyone that took the time to leave us a review or send us a message. It's been fantastic.
Right. So we've gotten several ideas. I'll be getting back to those of you that emailed us. There were so many wonderful messages and great suggestions for topics. Thank you so much for those. And if you didn't contact us, please do. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And for the reviews, we've gotten quite a few so far, and I was going to read one. This one's called Such a Treat, and it's from Sonomama20. I recently happened upon this podcast and have lots to catch up on. Kelly and Anita are instructive, warm, inspiring, and so knowledgeable. There's nothing stuffy about their advice. Happy birthdays!
Oh,
so thank you.
We appreciate that so much.
There's several more, but I'll save those for future.
Yeah, we'll definitely acknowledge those and read those aloud as we go through.
Right. So we're going to get back to our topic.
You mentioned the slow food movement, which I think is very pertinent and did sort of start this whole looking at things in a slower way. But here's a metaphor using food, too. Think about if you wanted to make a delicious pasta sauce, tomato-based. And if you grab some tomatoes that were grown in a greenhouse maybe, or something canned, and maybe some jarred spices and some olive oil that's okay, and you put it together, it's going to taste good. It'll be fine. But imagine if you grew that tomato and you took the time to nurture that plant and you actually picked it at the peak of ripeness and it felt warm from the sun in your hand. And imagine if you grew side by side with that plant some oregano and some basil, and you actually picked it from your own garden. You got top quality olive oil and you put it all together and you simmered it slowly over a whole Sunday afternoon. Imagine how great that pasta sauce would be. The other would be okay and it'd be satisfying, but this one would be phenomenal, and it would really be feeding not only your body but your soul. That's kind of what's going to happen if you adopt this slow decorating.
Right. So we're talking about the decorating, but also maybe some renovation projects in your home. So what we're suggesting is if, for example, you're moving into a new home, wait on doing any big projects to the house. Kind of live in your house for a little bit. Figure out how you use it, how you live in it before you decide to make changes. For example, our house, 2 houses ago, we lived in the breakfast room. We were there all the time. There was no island in the kitchen, so we didn't eat in the kitchen. So we used it every day. So when we built our house in the Houston Heights, I insisted on a breakfast room because I thought, where are we going to eat? Well, this house had a big island. I didn't realize we were going to end up eating at the island all the time. The point was, I didn't realize how we were going to use our home in that way. Mm-hmm. Or, for example, if you're going to take out some upper cabinets in your kitchen, well, what are you going to do with the stuff in those cabinets? Do you need storage for those? Can you get rid of that? Can you put them somewhere else? So this is really something to think about before you make major changes to your home. Live in it long enough to be certain that what you're getting ready to do is something that makes sense for the way you use the house.
Oh, I could not agree more. It was sort of distressing at the time that we were in escrow with the gentleman we were buying this house from for over 10 months. But it gave me an opportunity to think, rethink, visit the house, imagine how we were going to live here. And so it gave me a lot of time to mull over the way we were going to use the spaces. First saw the house and we first went under contract. I had a different plan. I was even going to take down a wall or two. But the more time I spent in the house, and again, this was a very unique situation with the gentleman we bought the house from. You're usually not visiting and helping the person who you're buying the house from actually pack up their things and move out, but I was. So you might think, how did you spend this much time in the house? But I did. He and I, became friends, and I was trying to help him gather up his 50 years worth of things and get out so we could get in. So while I was not thrilled about that at the time, in hindsight, it gave me such insight into the house. And so carrying that forward, I would think I'm probably never going to be in that sort of unique situation, and most other people would not either. But I would make sure if we moved to another house that I took that extra time, whether it be a couple of months, 6 months, maybe even a year, to live in the house as it is, and then figure out how my husband and I, or my kids, or extended family, who's ever going to be in the house for a period of time, how are we using the spaces, and what would be the best way to approach them? Because the ideas that you have in your head may not pan out when you're actually in the house. I mean, here's Anita saying, she loved having that breakfast room. Now, we love that you had a breakfast room because you took marvelous photos of that breakfast room. And, we got to see a lot of your dishes and then all those pumpkins on the table. For years, we have enjoyed that room visually. But maybe it was something that could have been more of an extension of the kitchen. And a bigger kitchen because you cook a lot. So, thinking things through like that, because you might have an idea, you saw something online, a magazine, Pinterest, something like, oh, I have to have that. I have to have fill in the blank. But it's not really going to work for the way you live. So taking the time, being slow and purposeful and intentional about what you do is the best way to do any sort of renovation or even simply some decorating, because you're going to get the best result.
Well, and I'm thinking about our laundry room. I mean, it's a laundry room. We store a lot in there. There's a sink. That's where I do my fermented yogurt and kombucha and all of that. And I'm really glad we've been in the house for a while now because I do want to redo that room. But now I'm really getting a good feel for what we use the room for. That's where the ice cream maker is. That's where I have a hot water dispenser that we leave on all the time for, whenever you want hot tea. And that's where the sous vide is. So it really does make sense to kind of see how we're using the room, because now I know we need a lot more counter space than we have. And I wouldn't have known that if we had done that right when we moved in.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. So have you tried Dupe yet? If you haven't, come on, dupe.com. It is going to be your new shopping best friend. And it's not just for furniture. I know I've shared with you about my coffee table dupe, but you can save money with Dupe on fashion, shoes, jewelry, and more. I just used Dupe to find an absolute perfect twin of this t-shirt that I wanted. It was an $80 t-shirt. I was not going to pay $80 for a t-shirt. Dupe helped me find the twin, like maybe the exact same shirt. Find something you love, and then you can find replicas, twins, and maybe the exact thing for so much less. Give Dupe a try today. It is really so easy to use. You just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and voila! It instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account is required. No sign up is required. It is completely free. I know, can you believe it? But it is completely free to use. Stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. Yeah, there are so many benefits. So we've talked about making it a space that's going to work better for you. It's going to show you how you want to live in the space, how you can make it better. Like Anita saying some more countertop would be better for her. What's missing? You might not realize what's missing. Like if you're like, oh, I want to make a mud room and I'm just going to have a place for all my great foods and maybe some pretty hooks. But yeah, maybe you need more counter space. Maybe you need a place to sit down because that's where everybody's coming in and out and taking shoes off. It also helps you avoid making rash decisions and having regrets. Renovation is expensive and it's time consuming, even if you do it quickly. And you don't want to have any regrets, or you want to avoid them and minimize them. And taking the time allows you to avoid many, many decisions that you might regret down the line.
Another thing to think about is the furniture that you're buying, because there is something also called fast furniture. Now, this is furniture that you're typically buying online. It comes in pieces. It comes with an Allen wrench. You're going to put it together. So this is something to think about. And we're not anti-IKEA, for example. We love IKEA, but you don't want to do your whole house in IKEA. That's fast furniture. It's great to fill a void here or there, but if your whole house is done in that, it's going to feel very mass produced. It's going to feel very fast. It's not going to have an elegance to it. So I think it's great for filling in. Like I use that for my bookcases upstairs. Very happy with the result. It's beautiful, sturdy, inexpensive. It works very well. So I think be mindful about choosing those pieces. And if you're choosing vintage pieces, which we highly recommend, and again, not your whole house, but some pieces here or there, that by definition it almost has to be slow, because if you're looking for a particular style, you're probably not going to find it the first time you go to the first place or the second place. You might have to wait 6 months to find the particular style that you're looking for. In fact, it may be that it doesn't come up at all, and you end up having to go with maybe a second or third choice. But to me, it's a fun journey. It's a fun process of finding that piece. And when you've spent 6 months finding a piece and you find a piece that it's just exactly what you were looking for, you love it, it's beautiful, you are going to enjoy your house so much more versus, I need a coffee table, there's one at IKEA, boom, 2 hours later you have it put together and there it is. And it doesn't look that great, but hey, it's done. Those are two different approaches to life, two different approaches to decorating. And I think one has great happiness to it and one has feeling to it.
Yeah, and I love how you said it was an approach to life, because that's true. This sort of spills over into a lot of other things that you might be doing. I think I mentioned this earlier. It takes out this unnecessary and arbitrary deadline. It's your house. If you don't have a coffee table for a year, that's okay. Nobody, if it's okay with you, don't worry about what anybody else thinks. And you really don't want to be filling in with pieces of furniture, particularly this sort of fast furniture, that you know you don't want. That's not going to be a good look, but it's also not very economical, because if you have in your mind, we're just going to get rid of that. Hey, whether it's a couple $100, that's a couple $100 that you could put towards something you really, really love. Or find something vintage and just take the time. And maybe you don't even have to spend a couple $100 on a coffee table that you find at a consignment shop or something like that. So there's a lot of reasons why you kind of have to get comfortable with the process, comfortable with maybe the excess of negative space. Negative space is definitely a thing. We have a whole episode on the importance of negative space, which we can reference here in the show notes. But this is space that you're kind of intending to fill, but you just haven't gotten there yet. You haven't found that perfect piece. You're not exactly sure if the room is going to be set up with 2 sofas and a coffee table in between. You're still considering how you're going to use the space. Just feel comfortable in that mindset that it's okay for this to take some time. It's important to build. And when you build, and I don't mean build a house, but if you're doing that, it's going to take some time too. Or you can also take this approach to building, the house from scratch. You can take this approach to renovation. You can take this approach to simply redesigning a room. It's important that you get comfortable with the concept that it's going to take a period of time. And that's going to allow you to layer and decorate in a way that's going to be authentic to you. not rushing out and just filling in the blanks.
Well, this is interesting because my mom is saying she wants a sofa for her apartment. And, we had to whittle down her entire house into a 2-bedroom apartment. And she had one of those nice size sofas that I knew was not going to fit well in her apartment. And she's been in it now for about 4 months. And she's saying, I still want a sofa. So I feel like she's taken the time to really assess the space, and she still feels like she wants that sofa. I don't think she needs it. I don't think she's going to use it, but she wants it. And I feel like she's had enough time to think about it. So I'm thinking, okay, in fact, if you go back and listen to one of those earlier episodes when we talked about the sofas, I don't know if you remember, but she was upset because when we first got married, we did not have a sofa.
Oh, yeah, I do remember you saying that. Yeah. She's all about the sofa.
She's all about the sofa. So anyway, this is going to be an interesting process with this slow decorating because we're taking a while to buy it, but now comes the process of buying something for her because she's going to want something inexpensive, but she's always also going to want something comfortable, and she's notorious for returning everything. So
hard to return a sofa.
Well, I bet you can do it.
Well, I bet you might be doing it. Another great benefit of slow decorating is that you get to take the time to figure out your style. People love to talk about what is my style. Think about what is my style. Take style quizzes. This is your opportunity to do it for reals. It's not taking a 10-question quiz in a magazine or on someone's blog and having them spit out an answer to you. This is your opportunity to take the time to understand what you love, understand how you like to use the space in your own home, understand what corner gets the best sun. So maybe that's where you create the reading nook, or maybe that's where you put that big giant plant. I'm always encouraging everyone to get learning what you love and how you can use it in your own home, and what looks you're drawn to. And when we say a style, it's a combination of different looks. So that is something that you can't really do overnight or even in a month. It takes some time. So give yourself the gift of the time and approach it as if this is ongoing. Hey, look, anybody who's listening to this show loves their home, loves interior design, loves creating a sanctuary, right? So why rush it? Enjoy it. And design for us and for you is an ongoing process. It's evolving. You don't have the same clothes in your closet that you did 20 years ago, maybe a few pieces, but you don't. Things come in, things come out. You take time. You also didn't buy all your clothes in one day or 1 month. So approach your decorating that way too.
Right. And, when you're talking about the style, defining your style and choosing from different styles and combining it in your own personal way, I think as you slow decorate, you slowly choose things over time. You're choosing things from different styles that work well together. Your look then becomes very unique to you. And that is not a trendy look. That is something that is not going to be specific to 1 year or maybe a 5-year timeline. So it's going to look less trendy, and it's going to more likely stand the test of time. It's going to look good for a longer time. So if you're buying things over time, it is going to have a collected feel. It's going to look like something that's just classic and looks great forever. Whereas if you buy everything all in 1 year, it can tend to look like 2015 or 2020. And that's not the look you're going for, because that is going to be out of style pretty quickly.
I love this approach. I love that it has a name, because I think people like that too, just like they like to know what is my style. People like to have a name for things. Maybe that also helps you feel like you are doing something, even though you haven't filled in all the framework in your house, you haven't hung all the things on the wall and you're still deciding and you're looking for that right thing, well, you're slow decorating. It's a movement. As I mentioned, it's sort of rebellious. So come with us and do that.
Well, also, it allows you to be smart on your splurges because you want to splurge on a few things and you might want to go with some dupes on something else. Most people don't have enough money to splurge on everything, but this really allows you to take your time and make your decisions slowly. Start with your anchor pieces, get those in place, and then that allows you time to kind of decide what you're getting. The other thing about it is it allows you to take advantage of sales because if you want something and you have to have it today, it may be full price, but next month there might be a sale. So I usually have a list of things that I'm interested in getting for the house, and I kind of watch and see if there's sales. And when one of those things goes on sale, even if that wasn't the next thing I was going to buy, I usually get that while it's on sale. So this having a plan and taking your time really allows you to take advantage of the sales and to really kind of plan things out in a way that you're not just wasting money.
Did you just drop the mic? That was good. Bam. She summed it all up right there. So what are we defining today?
We are defining chimney pot. So a chimney pot is a round or octagonal clay pot on the top of a tall chimney. Well, it can also be square. These became a popular fixture in the 18th and 19th centuries when people began burning coal to heat their homes. So the terracotta pots were added on top of the chimney as an inexpensive way to extend the chimney stack. This increased the draw of air through the chimney, and the speed of the air increased, and that meant that more soot and fumes left the home rather than staying in the home. So that's the purpose of the chimney pots. But during the Victorian era, there was another reason for the chimney pots, and that was to add a unique look to your home. So
of course it was. Those Victorians.
They
wanted to slap it on there. Give me some more stuff.
In their defense, this is when they started with the cookie cutter homes. This is when they began. We think of them as suburbia America as being the place for cookie cutter homes, but these were happening in England in the Victorian age. And one of the things that they could do to make their house look different from their neighbors was to add decorative chimney pots.
I didn't know that it actually had a purpose. Thought it was always just sort of decorative.
Well, they're made from clay, copper, steel are some of the materials that they're made from, and you can get them in square, round, or octagonal shapes. And they can be a mortar mount, chimney mount, crown mount, or inside flue mount, and they're available today. So there you have it.
They are available today if you wanted those. Woodland Direct has them. I'm checking right now, and they are new ones, but you can also get these really cool vintage ones, and people are using them for all different things. Maybe just a decorative sort of column or a planter or something like that. I love when I lived in London, we were lucky enough to rent this flat that had a balcony, and you could look over. So we were a little bit higher than sort of the blocks around us, and you could see all the different chimney pots. And
how fun.
The smoke coming up. It just was so cozy, British. I loved it.
I know. I would have too. That sounds wonderful.
Maybe I need a chimney pot for my Victorian home. I think maybe
so.
I'm going to think about that. That's a good one. My Crush is a good one. I really enjoy the author Anne Patchett. She was most notable for Bel Canto and The Dutch House and Tom Lake. And she did an interview recently on a podcast that has a really interesting concept. It is called Wild Card, and it's with a journalist, Rachel Martin, and she's got a great voice. And she interviews all sorts of people, celebrities, noteworthy people, whatnot. The questions are on cards, 3 different cards. So they do like 3 rounds, and they pick the number card, and then they get the question that's on the card. And Rachel swears she doesn't know what the questions are. She recently had an interview with Anne Patchett. Great questions, great answers. It was a terrific interview. I will link it in the show notes.
So My Crush is a book, British Designers at Home by Jenny Rose Innes. And this is a very thick, heavy book. It is full of gorgeous photos. It's not just one designer. There's so many in there. I just love this book. This was one of my gifts to myself for our birthday.
Happy birthday.
Well, the thing I wanted to clue people in on, speaking of sales, I have never noticed this before, but right now, Amazon is having pretty big sales on a lot of their decorating books. I mean, this book I bought for 50% off.
Why? That's weird.
Well, I don't know, but I'm just seeing books that are 40 to 50% off. And so I've actually bought several because I'm thinking, well, it's a great sale. So what can I say? But this one was well worth it, but especially at 50% off, it was fantastic.
So much fun today. I really enjoyed this whole slow decorating thing. And as I said earlier in the episode, anybody that tells me I can do something slowly, I kind of enjoy that. So, hope you give this concept a try. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.